Exciting. And then we have
Me too.
Elijah, Heisensley, Rue, and we have someone new tonight, Bruni. Did you want to introduce yourself or?
Hi, I'm Bruni, or Tank, or Glenn, whichever username you want to pick. Yes, I suffer from multiple personality syndrome, so there you go. And then I will wait to introduce my mouse when the narrative seems fit. But his name is Oliver. So
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you and your mouse joining us tonight. I think you sent me his stat already. Yes, you did. They were in the general. Okay. So we have Oliver, who is. Okay. Okay.
I believe he's a beetle herder with a pet beetle.
Okay. And what would your beetle's name be?
Well, I was going to name him after a brave boy from a previous game, but his name's going to be Squint.
Okay, Squint. It'll be nice to have another beetle because we happen across a lot of stuff that sometimes we have to leave behind. We already have Thistle, um, who's an NPC's beetle, but it'll be really cool to have
Ooh,
another joining us. Um,
yes. More beetles mean more loot to carry home.
yes, or more food or whatever. Yes, but we've come across some really cool
Yes.
stuff. Um, a lot of our loot is currently at the city of, to recap for you and Ross, we moved the mice from Greyhouse all the
Oh,
way over to Cherry Grove and up with the help of crows who distracted Mr. Olcox, who prior to that had been stalking us. He was pretty ticked off and was attacking even in daytime.
ooh.
So the crows mobbed him during the day, which also gave us a marker as to where he is, and they still do. They try to. So if you hear crows, just be careful because he could be nearby. Um, the crows themselves are friendly, but they're trying to help. Um, he is still in the picture though, very much, and there is no protection from him at night. So if you are out and about at night, it could get very bad very quickly. He especially hates this
Yeah.
group because some of the members defied him and his orders, and then there's others who joined those mice in defying him. So basically, if you're with this group, you have a target on you.
Oh my
We
God, they're the rebellion.
right? Yeah. Rebellious little mice. We left all of our stuff at our new home, Old Barn. We have a bunch of cloth and feathers, and which, oh, by the way, Pearl, you do have a new little feather um, to write with as well. So you have a couple small feathers. You can choose however many you decided to take. Writing feathers, um, and then you do have paint, which you can also use as ink. You got some paints from blackberry paints from someone we helped. Um, so we are currently, to catch up everyone today, we set off from Greyhouse towards Creekside. We have our overarching quest, which is to get rid of the evil Mr. Olcox. And a prophecy from a ghostly snake said that we would potentially find aid over near Creekside. She implied that we could potentially get rid of him by ourselves, but it would take a long time. Or we could seek the help of someone who climbs that owls hate, was the only hint she gave. We also have personal quests such as finding bats, finding rabbits. The bats are for our lovely bat cultist, Marigold. Our rabbit rider Hazel's in search of rabbits, which Lotus said we can find there. Jerry would like to see the fishermen and just the fishing culture of Creekside. He's considering a move there someday, as well as delivering mail and extending a greeting from our new mouse colony. We are currently trying to set up without stepping on the toes of Brambly Hedge. we are currently trying to set up a mail trade between our, I guess you'd call it our, and our old barn and the other mouse colonies. But we don't want to step on toes. We're making it official. We are not trading. We are not dealing in large quantities of anything, if anyone asks. Just small parcels and mail. That's it. But trying to find a place in the different mouse colonies for the Greyhouse old barn mice. Creekside is an unknown. All we know about it so far is it is marshy and wet. The mice are supposedly friendly, but there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a mysterious wood that is to the north of it. So we'll start off. We are in the... Where are we? We are in the wheat field, new field, as it is called. And it is a beautiful sunny day. There's tall sheaths of wheat, long stalks up on the left side. And on the right, you can look down and see this slope down into large to a mouse ditch. And then the Great Tar Road is on the other side of that. You are walking close to the cornfield as it can provide cover in case of hawk or other large birds overhead, though you've been cautioned by Lotus, your guide, not to stray too far into the wheat field or it is very easy to lose your way. Except for probably Pearl, who has a compass. So we are picking up there. Walking along. We are halfway. We just camped overnight, actually. So you are all waking up. It's a beautiful morning. Or no, we didn't camp yet, did we? We were going to, but we had to end. So it's afternoon. Okay. So it's afternoon, and we are looking for a camping spot. I'm sorry. And as you're walking, you think you hear some rustling up in the wheat up ahead.
I sure hope it's not another snake. I think we've seen too many of those recently. I guess I'll kind of, and there's probably too many of us to dive for cover. I guess I'll just kind of hide off to the side a bit and maybe creep forward to investigate to see if it's anything dangerous or not.
Hazel's wondering if it sounds anything like the rustling sound she might associate with bunnies or not.
It sounds like it is a very, very small critter. Smaller than a bunny.
Okay, now bunnies, right.
There are bunnies in Newfield, but this one is not. It is smaller.
Hazel will say, it sounds like a very small creature. Maybe it won't be a danger to us.
Chicory's on edge because he's a little leery after his last snake bite. He is very happy to have Marigold at his back because she and her magic missile tablet are quite indispensable. So he feels a little braver, and he's next to Hazel. And just as you're standing there waiting, all of a sudden, out pops a mouse. You immediately notice that he is a lovely patchy chocolate color, and he looks like he's been outside exploring for a bit. And right behind him comes a little beetle, about thistle-sized.
Oh, little Squint, you turned us the wrong way. Now we're lost. How are we supposed to get home now? What's that? Oh,
Oh, thank goodness!
It's more mice.
It's another mouse.
Why, hello there. What brings you out here?
We are on a journey to Creekside. What brings you out here? Have you come from Creekside?
Creekside? Yes, I've been from Creekside. I was out here looking for this little fellow. And Oliver will pat Squint's hardback shell and sigh and says, he got out of his pen yet again, wanting to enjoy the big wide world, but with that horrible owl out and about, he shouldn't be out here. It's too dangerous, especially at night. He'll like give Gwent a stern look.
Hazel's gonna
At this,
say that.
Goose kind of chuckles.
Hazel's gonna say the owl has been bothering you guys all the way out in Creekside too.
Well, no, but we've received some letters from relatives, and if the owl's gonna be out all the way over there, it's a matter of time before he comes over here to Creekside.
Oh,
I
I
don't
see.
want little Squint to get hurt.
I'm glad
What brings
I'm glad he isn't bothering you guys. He's awful.
what brings you guys to Creekside, may I ask?
We have some letters and some honey samples from a local beehive, and we wanted to deliver the mail first of all, and also visit with some people there and see if any of the chefs are willing to establish a more formal trade for this honey, or if there's any interest in it at Creekside. And I believe we also have a mouse with us who is returning, lives at Creekside and is returning home.
Oh, really? Who?
Was that Lotus? I don't want to get the name wrong.
At this,
Okay.
Lotus kind of steps out from behind you. She was a little worried it was a snake and is not quite as brave without her husband Barley there. She immediately recognizes Oliver and says, Oliver! Oh my! Well, it has been a while. How have you been?
It's been such a long time since I've seen you, Lotus. It's been one heck of a doozy. The beetles are riled up. We got more now than ever, and well, we're waiting on news from what was going on from your neck of the woods.
Well, as much as I love it with you guys, I did go west to visit family, but decided to return a little early with these adventures. I couldn't turn down a good adventure, and it meant getting home to Barley and all of you that much sooner. But it's a pleasure to run into you out here. And she kind of looks down at Quint. You mischievous little beetle! You mustn't cause that much trouble or worry for Oliver.
He'll just chitter and try running back in the direction of Creekside before Oliver stops him. It's like, oh,
What kind of beetle is it? Or like what color? Yeah.
Well, I was actually trying to remember. I was gonna say it was a stink bug.
Oh no.
That could come in
I have
handy.
too much experience with those.
In honor of a previous beetle, but I don't remember if they're a beetle.
They're not actually quite a beetle. They get confused as such.
Oh, okay. Well then, I'll have to think about that. He's an amorphous blob of a beetle at the moment.
Okay. Got the pixels over him and then like beetle labeled above him.
It's not really a beetle, but it's close enough.
Yeah. We could roll, if you want him to be a stink bug, we could totally make him a stink bug.
Sure, why not?
He's a nice size, a very nice sized, well-fed stink bug.
Yes. Good old stink bugs.
Oh.
Well, I would bring you guys, guide you all back to Creekside, but I believe it's too dark out now to return.
Well, it is starting to get dark. Lotus looks up. We should probably find a nice spot to rest.
Yes, we
With this
certainly
owl
don't want
friend of
Mr.
yours,
Ocox
maybe
to
into
find
the
us.
weed a bit.
Is there a spot where the traders usually rest on this route?
Well, we find our bunnies we're able to make better time typically, but for those of us that travel on foot, the usual go-to is try to head north, head straight in, walks in a straight line and head straight into the wheat to find a camping spot, and then make a marker in the direction you came from so you can return that way the next day. Unless somebody had a compass, in which case we could find south, but I certainly don't carry one.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
actually,
so I
I start like, I get excited actually, and I start like slapping around on my blouse and start dropping other items. What am I dropping here on the ground? I'm dropping my rations, my pips, my blackberry paint. I spill some of it, some riding feathers that go out onto the ground, hawk feathers, remnants of a quill, a string, a pouch. And finally, I kind of like, what do you call that when uh
Juggle.
yeah, accidental juggle. I don't know what that's called. The compass, and then I like here. I present a compass.
Oh, well, that is awesome. Well, we can still put the marker in if you all want, but as long as she has that compass, if we head straight in, north, I think, then as long as we head south, due south in the morning, we should be able to get right out and continue on our way.
that
So
sounds
you,
perfect to me.
oh, I should add, we mice from Creekside have a way of hiding in the wheat. Um, Oliver would know it too. We kind of weave the wheat together in sort of a triangle shape above our heads. Uh, it makes for a nice little hut, and nothing overhead can see you. You just
And
have
it
to do it
keeps the
not so
rain off
tight.
you too.
Indeed, it is a nice way. Oliver and I could help set that up if others wanted to, prep other things, I suppose. But we might need some help with the weaving since we need to make a bigger one.
Yes, we could teach you all how to do it, and we can make a nice little hut for all of us to stay in.
Sounds much better than sleeping on the ground.
Way better than being out in the open,
Oh.
so this sounds like a great idea. I'm out for it.
And here, I can use my herding pole to help keep the center up too, in case it decides to fall flat tonight too.
That
So
doesn't
I
sound
don't.
as
We
pleasant.
could use it to. Yeah.
I hope we have some way to keep your beetle friend from running away again during the night. Seems like the adventurous type.
Oh, he's scared of the dark.
Oh, okay. Aren't we all?
Except for maybe Marigold.
That's true. Marigold dreams of having magic bat sight because bats can see in the dark, you know.
Of course.
Okay, so all of you head into the wheat field, kind of pushing your way through the grass. It is indeed very thick. Once you've gone not 20 paces into the field, you turn around and see you cannot see your way back out. It is indeed very thick. And it all kind of looks the same. So without Pearl's compass or knowing where you came from, you would be quite in a pickle. You get to the right spot and find a nice little patch that seems kind of flat. And Oliver and Lotus start weaving grass. and they ask if some of you could gather some of the lower leaves from the wheat plants to help make sort of a fluffy bedding underneath.
Yeah, Marigold will help with that.
Yeah,
Just start
Hazel
gnawing
too.
off leaves and
Yeah.
stacking them.
Okay. I also have Poppy comes alongside Marigold and is helping. Goose goes to help with the weaving, though it looks a bit more like he's knotting the grass at times. All right. So we set up this lovely, it does very much resemble sort of like this cone shape in the wheat. It looks a bit funny, but you can tell that nothing from the air could see you once you squeeze between the blades of wheat and are cozy inside on your nice little stash of grass. It is dark inside, as it would not be wise to light a fire, but it is very cozy. So it is time for, you can all use a ration from your mouse supplies for dinner. You could attempt to forage, but it is towards night and you are in the middle of a wheat field, so that could prove tricky for getting back.
So it's a mouse TP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Nice.
basically it's a mouse TP with the grass. Oh, does it have it on the right? Yeah, it has it on the right page. Okay. It's a mouse TP, and you all have a lovely dinner. It is time to turn in for the night. Is there anything you want to do before you go to sleep?
I guess we should have someone keep an eye out, or decide who's going to, in what order we're going to keep watch.
I'll take first watch.
I can go second.
Sure. I'll do third.
There are 3. Let me see. 3.
There'd be the night watch, so like I would say like maybe 8 to midnight or 8 to 1 a.m. and then the morning watch, which would be up until 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could split it into like 2 watches, 2 6-hour watches. Where the night's getting shorter because we're towards the summer now. So
Okay. I mean, Oliver volunteers for second watch to let his newfound allies get some sleep.
all right.
We trust him implicitly.
Totally will not sell you out to the owls and the rats.
All right. So everyone goes to sleep and Pearl's watch goes very smoothly. She thinks, but she's not sure. She might hear some kind of call at night, an owl or something, but it is faint and not close by. And switches out with Oliver in the middle of the night, and she's able to curl up and go to sleep. Oliver's watch also goes smoothly, and before you know it, it is morning. So everyone wakes up in the morning in this very crowded but cozy little mouse teepee. So before we set out for the day, is there anything we want to do? Otherwise, and Lotus kind of glances at Pearl, I think Pearl will be the one that will have to get us out of here.
Yeah, she does that. She gets her bearing and allows the magnet to or the to kind of stabilize in the as it floats. And she says, because we're going south, right? South is where, and we're going to Creekside. She says, okay, well, this is south. And so I'll pick a target. Okay, I see that tree. That is a weird tree. That weird tree is south. She puts the compass away. And she notes a big, whatever is of the directly in line of sight of south that she's not going to lose.
Okay. So there's this big gnarly pine that's poking up above the wheat. As you get closer, you can see it better. You soon find yourself back on your little mouse path alongside the wheat field, and about where you left off the day before, and ready to head east to finish your journey. It is not too much longer, and Lotus notes that if you hurry, you may make it for lunch. And lunch is definitely not something to miss there.
Well, I hurry up.
Yes, Marigold would like to avoid having another meal of cold rations. Not they're bad, it's just that a nice hot lunch sounds much better.
All right. So all of the mice are picking up speed. The thought of a delicious lunch is in mind, especially Jerry, who is probably quite looking forward to fish and seafood again.
Oh yeah.
You are walking along and you smell it before you see it. You can almost pick up this musty, wet odor in the air. And you're starting to hear the calls of birds you're not familiar with. You notice the wheat up ahead changes from wheat to thick, fat green grass. And before you know it, you're coming up on the marsh where Lotus points to the left and says, okay, this is the path. And you see this little dirt trail. Too tiny for someone, say, a giant to see. But for the mice, you can definitely tell it is a footpath for smallish animals like beetles and such. And pretty soon you are within sight of an unusual little community. The homes are quite different from anything any of you would have seen, except for maybe Lotus or Oliver. Instead of living in large towering trees or even a stump, the mice here have used the nice thick mud of the marsh to fashion little homes. They kind of look like nice round bumps, as well as making use of here or there a log for their homes. Where did that picture go? Okay. So, upon arrival, let's see. I had a picture for this, and I don't know what happened to it. I will have to find it again. Upon arrival, you notice most of these little round bumps are clustered in somewhat of a grouping, and in them, on one side is a large log that has apparently been hollowed out. And then on one side is it's not quite a riverbank, but it's a raised area next to the marsh, and the mice have actually carved little homes or buildings into the side in the mud, and then have reinforced it with sticks and twigs and tree roots and braided grasses to make sturdy, comfortable homes. Oliver is immediately greeted when waved at, as well as Lotus, by a bunch of mice who are welcoming you back, and you're all greeted with curious stares as everyone takes in your attire and notices you are not quite from here. You are immediately welcomed and greeted, and asked to come into lunch after all. It would not be fair to leave you standing around here. You need to get some food in your belly before we can talk.
Oh man.
Marigold very much approves of this turn of events. Perspective on the whole situation.
I want to know how what do Creekside people dress like? I mean, they're the ones that are dressed weird, obviously, not me.
Yes. So whereas in Brambly Hedge the mice were mostly formal attire except for the workers, you notice the mice in Creekside seemed to prefer stuff that can dry easily, lighter materials. A lot of the my brain just blinked. A lot of the male mice are wearing overall style outfits.
These are
with random
Louisiana
little,
mice, like
yes, with
Cajun
random
mice.
little like hooks. You can see they've made their own hooks out of brambles and such. Or, you know, some have like string hanging out of a pocket here or there, or a bit of a reed tucked behind an ear. You could tell from their feet they probably have not bathed for a while. The female mice all wear kind of a lightweight, cottony outfit, either pants or kind of a dress. But all of it is lightweight. It comes in browns and greens, and it's hard to find a mouse that does not have mud somewhere on them. The younger mice definitely, you could tell, have been out swimming or playing in the water this morning, as they show up to lunch wet and some of them quite soaked. But nobody seems to bat an eye at this, as it is quite normal. And the smell of fish and the rich wet smell of mud fills the air until you get closer to a specific hole where they are leading all of you in the in the marsh bank. And you are starting to smell the most delicious blend of spices, and you're not sure what that is. Jerry would immediately recognize it as fish.
Jerry, they seem like there are a lot of people, a lot of mice that fish here.
Oh yeah, I don't know this Pearl, but I found home. They're everywhere. Just look, just like even the smells, everything. Oh, they probably got fish we never even heard about. And I don't know about you, Pearl, but I mean, to me they look more normally than anywhere else they ever been, especially Brambly Head. So I don't know. No offense, Pearl, but you were the one I thought was dressed kind of weird with all the trimming and propping. I don't know. It just felt more natural just to wear like lighter clothes and just be on the river on the water and stuff.
Pearl's eyes are these like beady black vortexes of sparkly stars. She's got luminescent eyes. Have you ever had that vacant stare back from beady black mouse eyes? You just get that, and then like this look like.
I mean, if you like it, Pearl, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it just doesn't look right on mice. It doesn't look.
I just like keep the look, and then just walk past him and go find food.
Marigold will be sniffing around. She's not really sure what she thinks of all the mud. She kind of feels like she prefers some dry land, but she wants to see what out there is, and she certainly enjoys fish, so she's ready for lunch.
Well, you get into this building and immediately notice that it is indeed supported by twigs and sticks that are used to provide some sense of structure. Unlike Brambly Hedge, where the dining room was formal and everyone was wearing nice attire to the point where you felt almost out of place in your normal adventuring clothes. You almost feel overdressed here, except for likely Oliver, who's wearing very casual attire. he gets quite a few pats on the back. Or, hey, man, nice to see ya. That little beetle get you lost again. You are greeted by a very enthusiastic older mouse who finds her way towards you and says, Oliver! Lotus! Good to have you both back, my darlings! Why, Oliver, I bet you didn't have a nip to eat since yesterday. You better get some extra grub today to make up for that. Can't have you starving and going thin on me now. Now, who are these friends? Oh, look at you. Aren't you just precious? And she's kind of looking at Pearl and Hazel here. My, we can't have them starving too. I bet you all needing to eat up some supper. Go find yourselves a seat, and Mama Lily will be back with some of my nice base gumbo.
Well, Marigold will go sit down. She doesn't need to hear anything else.
All right. So you all find a seat. Lotus is mumbling something about, I probably should have changed clothes before traveling. I feel really weird stuck in my Bravely Hedge attire here. Before you know it, there are large clay bowls of steaming hot fast gumbo brought in with different spices. And on the side, there's fried cattail roots to go with it, either to eat on their own or dip as you like.
Oh. There he is. Checking on Glenn. I mean, I'm just like, thank you, you know, because I don't know these people. I don't these mice, and then I dig in.
Marigold will try it out. She's a little unsure about how she feels about the fried roots, but the gumbo is certainly delicious.
This is probably the most exotic food that Jerry's ever tasted, but he's all willing to go ahead and dive right in once he hears like, oh, this is what you make from like the fish. It got spices, everything. Oh heck, I'll try all this, and just starts munching down.
All right. So the room is quite full of mice. It is bustling. There's little simple wood stools and wood tables for everyone. There appears to be no assigned seating here. It is every mouse sitting wherever they want, but they all seem to know each other very well. The one mouse you know, Mama Lily, is busily bustling around to tables with a couple other mice, bringing large clay bowls of steaming hot food to each table. Lotus asks, so, now that you're in Creekside, what exactly is it you're wanting to do here?
Well, we had best distribute these letters. Now that we're here, we brought some mail from Brambley Hedge to Creekside. And oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say Hazel's got the backpack. She's gonna open it up and be like, "Hey, got a letter here for Ellie Mae. Is there an Ellie Mae here?"
Mail call.
Sorry, no.
And at this, Lotus is like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I bet yes, she's in this room right now. Hey!" And she waves her Mama Lily. And Mama Lily comes over. What can I do for you, darling?
I got some letters here for you for the mice of Creekside. Yeah, hand them over. She can dole them out.
Oh my! Why, thank you, darling. Hey, Ellie Mae! And she's waving at a mouse in the back, waving the letter around. And you see the mouse, like, there's like 3 of them, all look up, and she goes, "No, I'm talking to you. Yeah, the one in the middle." And she proceeds to call out mouse names, and she appears to know everybody, but handing out the letters for you at the top of her lungs, very enthusiastically. The mice, you can see, are quite delighted to get their letters. They weren't expecting them for a while, and it is nice to receive their mail.
Okay, and then I think Marigold is just kind of chatting with while the letter's being distributed, Marigold is kind of nibbling on the roots because she feels that it would be rude to leave anything over. And talking to the other mice about what the snake had said. And as she kind of says, as I recall, the snake had said that here in Creekside we could find someone who might scare away Mr. Olcox for good. And I believe the snake had also said that there was someone here we should meet. Kind of as a separate person. Although, before we go off on this adventure, we had best speak to Mama Lily about it and see if she is interested in any of this honey that we carried so far. Or I'm just going to eat it because it smells really good.
The hardest part about the honey trade, we have to avoid eating it on the way here.
All right. So, other than talking to Mama Lily, is there anything else you're wanting to do before the mice head out? Or I should say before the mice disperse from lunch, I guess.
I think the letters technically covered everything, because I just will have, like, these old notes all the way back at Cherry Grove, which was, like, because I think these are covered in the letters, where it's, like, asked for pickled fish, crawdads, and...
Oh, that would be the grocery list. So, yeah, if it was in a letter, then it would have gone to, if you had it in letter form, it would have gone to Mama Lily. Otherwise, you can hand the list to her directly.
We should probably make an announcement that we'll take mail back to Brambley Hedge when we return, so that mice have time to write their letters if they want to send anything over.
Good point.
Or if they had a letter they wanted to send, they could go get it for when we head out.
So for the suggestion, Lotus again flags down Mama Lily, who comes over enthusiastic. What is it, darlings? Y'all need thirds?
Yes, and
she hears your suggestion and bustles over to the kitchen and brings out this great big pot with a long wooden stirring stick and bangs on it a couple times, and the room goes quiet. Yo, mice! These adventurers here are offering to bring your mail back to Brambley Hedge for us and other parts. So if you all have letters or you feel you need to be writing some, well, you have until they're done here. I don't know when that'll be, but you have until they're done here to get your letters done, okay? Y'all just bring them here to me, and I'll make sure they get your letters before you go. Okay, darlings? Okay, bye. And she disappears back into the kitchen and then comes back with your third helping of gumbo and fried cattail roots.
I didn't realize how gamey and gnarly crawfish was. There was crawdads, right? And now,
yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah, now I'm like, thank you. And then I run off. And
Yeah, I get the feeling that Hazel is being from Cherry Grove, has a bit of a sweet tooth and isn't really big on the spicy, and so she's just kind of trying to eat it politely, but is like kind of sweating a little bit because gumbo can be a little it's too spicy for her.
It definitely packs
crawfish
a punch in the mouth.
Crawfish actually have to be soaked in fresh water several times, and the water has to be changed to rinse them out, I guess, because they live in the mud. So I'm assuming these mice are not herding them into multiple freshwater pools. So they probably do taste very strong.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste. The Creekside mice like Oliver would be quite used to it, but it's definitely a bunch of new flavors you've never smelled or tasted before, as usually the only fish that goes out of Creekside is salted or smoked or otherwise prepared.
Jerry's still trying to acquire the taste, but he's at least making an effort to. It's like, oh, well, I didn't realize, like, huh, never tasted anything like this. And he's just trying to, it's like, oh, well, I guess if I ate it a couple more times, I could get used to this. He's still trying to, but he's just not quite having the same reaction as Pearl, but still just trying to, like, yeah, just trying to, like, mush around his mouth, trying to see, like, even get a bit of appreciation for it. He's just more interested in experimenting and experiencing it more so than enjoying it.
Lotus is trying not to giggle at reactions, and she's, oh, you poor dears, don't worry, we don't serve crawfish every meal. It's just sometimes. So there'll be other stuff too, and I'm sure we could ask Mama Lily to maybe have some that's like not so spicy for you. Um, she does do some really sweet fish sometimes, but sometimes it's hard to get the sweet stuff here. Uh, it's been hard trading with those other mice up to the northeast. We don't hear from them all the time, but that'd be the only place we could get something sweet is from up there.
Well, Marigold will mention the honey. I don't know if how much Lotus has heard about the Greyhouse mice, but Marigold will tell her about how they just moved to New Farm and how there is a beehive near the barn they moved into, and how they have an arrangement with the bees for some of their honey. And she lets her know that they would be willing to trade some with the Creekside mice in exchange for fish, and that they've brought some here, kind of like as a quality demonstration to see if, and so the mice can test it to see if that's something they would be interested in.
Well, I dare say mice is starting to clear out now. I dare say you could probably take some to Mama in the kitchen, and she'll give it a taste and see if she can't do something with it. I'm sure she could come up with some things to make with that. We do, like I said, get it sometimes, but Stumpville's kind of hit and miss for trading, and they're hard to trade with, and sometimes we get good spices from them, and sometimes we have to forage on our own. We do get some from Brambley Hedge, but they're not terribly fresh by the time they get out here.
The jams?
The spices, the herbs.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, they dry out very rapidly and they lose so much of their flavor.
They do. It's a pity.
It is.
We would try growing them here, but, well,
It's very damp.
it's too damp for them, and all the plants go mildewy, and that's that. All right. So you finish eating, and Lotus asks if you want her to take the honey back for you, so that you can take care of other things. And she asks if you will be needing accommodations while you are here. It is, let's see, between your traveling here and lunchtime, it is early afternoon, so maybe around 1 or 2 o'clock ish.
I ask Marigold. I know this is an example. Maybe I'm behind on this. I asked Marigold and Jerry and Hazel. Oh, and also, actually, is Poppy still with us?
Yes, Poppy is.
Okay. So who do you think? What kind of help do you think we're gonna find here?
I don't know. The snake didn't say. All she said is that there was a creature that wasn't a mouse that could climb that we should meet here who would drive Mr. Olcox away from the tree much faster than we could drive him off ourselves. I don't know where to find this creature but maybe we can ask some of the other mice here. I'm sure if it lives around here, they must have heard about it at least if they haven't spoken to it.
Yeah.
And
Maybe. Oh, sorry.
on a second note, the snake had said there were people here we should meet, but she was also very vague on that point, so I don't know if she really knew what she was talking about there. But certainly there are many mice we can discuss, meet, and talk to, and I'm sure there'll be many opportunities there. But certainly getting rid of Mr. Olcox should be our main priority.
I do that. I go to one of the swampy, muddy river mice, and I tug on their shirt, and I'm like, "Excuse me, oh, and I get mud on my paws, and then I smell my paws because of the crawfish, and I'm like, oh, it never goes away, and then this. I'm like, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. My name's Pearl. I was wondering if you might be able to help us. We're looking for something. What's your name? I just go like the nearest, nicest looking muddy mouse.
This mouse that you happen to speak to turns around and says, "Oh, hey there. My name's Oakley. So I was born under an oak tree. Get it?" Yeah. Anyway, my pa had a sense of humor, but yeah, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Pearl. Yeah, and we're not from here, from Creekside, but we came here because we heard that there was a fantastic creature, and I wonder if I could describe it. If you may have heard of something like it before.
Well, maybe.
Well, it climbs trees, first of all, and then it must be awfully fearsome in some way or another. But at the same time, of no danger to a mouse?
Huh.
Well, the snake didn't say it wasn't dangerous to mice.
Oh.
The snake said we might be able to convince it to chase off Mr. Olcox.
Well, what kind of creatures do you think you are here near the swamp, Oakley, that might climb trees? Have you seen?
Well, can't say I've seen none too many that do, as I spend most of the time on the marsh fishing, but I suppose if you went up to where the marsh area meets Jay's Wood, just north of Creekside, still kind of considered Creekside, I suppose, but there's no houses up there. There's trees to climb, and, well, I suppose the climby things would be over there.
Marigold's kind of stroking her chin because she can't find a flaw in this logic.
Wasn't there something about bats being here?
Bats? What's that?
Oh, they're these powerful magical creatures. They're basically flying mice, super mice with magic.
You mean a bird? That doesn't sound right. Oh, at night. We call them things night wings.
Right.
A nightwing? Wow.
Marigold's just like tripping over herself because that sounds even cooler.
I think we've heard them. Yeah, we heard that they were called that. I just forgot that's what they call them that down here.
Yeah, I suppose that's what you describe in there. They're furry, and they kind of had the face of a mouse a little bit, and, well, they got smaller ears, but they hear right well, and they squeak cute, and they fly in the dark without running into a thing.
Amazing.
That's because they're magic.
Beautiful to watch at night, especially at sunset.
You've seen them?
Oh, pretty much any mouse living in Creekside with eyes has seen one. They fly at night in the sky. Don't you worry. They may look scary, but they don't eat mice. Just bugs.
Where do you see them? I mean, you say at night, but where? Just in the sky?
In the sky.
Oh.
Why, it's coming up on summer now. Well, it is summer now, and I reckon if you stay out late tonight in town and happen to look up before you go to bed as the sun sets or just after, you'll see them flying and diving and swooping. Must be nice to move so free. Closest we get to that is on the water.
Yeah. Well, everyone, it sounds like we need to climb some trees.
And stay up late.
Ironic that in order for us to find the creature we need that climbs, we gotta climb ourselves.
Yep.
Is there anything else I can help you with? I better get going soon. My buddies are getting ready to launch the raft again today, and I don't want to miss it. We've been trying to hunt down a catfish. It's going to take a couple of us to bring that booger in, though.
A cat? Fish?
It got fish versions of those?
Marigold's taking this in the wrong direction, just imagining a fish with fur and pointy ears and really sharp teeth.
I thought cats couldn't swim!
I thought they were afraid of water.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but I don't want anything to do with that fishing expedition.
How big is it?
Well, we don't know, but we do know the last couple boats tried to catch it got sunk. 'Cause it pulled so hard on their fishing lines. So we figure if we bring a small fleet, we'll surely catch it, but... So you're curious, little mice, aren't you? I've never heard of a cat that couldn't swim.
Marigold's just like traumatized by this information. Nowhere is safe.
The next thing we're going to learn about is cat flies.
Oh, stop that, Pearl. That's impossible.
You mean like an owl?
They're too big.
I actually like my ears lower when Jerry gets on to me, and I look down. I'm like, and I nod, and I like go to touch my face, and then I'm like, oh, I must throw up again.
As if the Oakley kind of chuckles and says, "Well, I'll be fishing, but if you need to find me, you can either check for me down by the docks if it's morning or lunch. I'm in here for grub, or dinner grub, or evening, I suppose, down by the docks. But otherwise, you can always call on my Grandma May, and she'll get a message to me if you need me." And with this, he disappears, and most of the mice have cleared out of the room. What do you want to do next?
Well, I guess, well, with daylight, we should go to the trees to find this tree climbing thing. That hopefully isn't a tree cat.
All right. So you head. Are we all going towards the where is it? North of Creekside?
Yeah, north of Creekside, where the marsh meets the woods.
Okay. So you head over towards Let's see, is this the one I want? Yeah. Okay. So the marsh is beautiful, but you find yourself wanting to walk a little further away from it because while creekside mice enjoy the mud between their toes, you certainly are not as much. Lotus has stayed behind to go find her husband Barley and see him again because she hasn't seen him for quite some time. But she promised to help if you need anything, just ask for her. Or she said that Mama Lily will know how to find her because she knows how to find everyone. And she points which direction you go, and she said just follow the marsh back down. If you go up, you go with it on your right. When you come back down, it's on your left, and you just follow it, and you'll find it Creekside again. If you get to the wheat or to the road, you've gone too far. As you venture out, you do see trees, which at first kind of brings up the memory of Dimwood, but you notice these are not quite so thick or foreboding. They do seem to be a bit more spaced and not so craggly, but more of a younger leafy trees. You do hear loud bird calls in the air and strange bird sounds you haven't heard before. The grass is green and lush. And you reach the base of Jayswood.
Oops, wrong button. I create a resection along the way by finding 2 major landmarks and then forming one of our own so we have a waypoint. So that we can point back to it as well. Trying to find something that I could use. Does anybody have anything that could act as a flag?
That's fine.
You have what?
Didn't we have
Fine.
don't we have flannel from the scarecrow that we chewed up? Or did we leave that back at the barn?
I left that back in the barn.
Yeah, it'll be a lot to carry, that's true.
All I have is a roll of twine. I don't know if we could, like, try to make something out of it.
Yeah. Well, I have a hawk feather. So I'll tie it with twine and then toss it over a very tall branch for a mouse and make the hawk feather dangle in the air a full, 6 inches off the ground or something crazy like that.
Okay. So you have a little marker set up. The forest does come down to the marsh on the forest south side. And then stretches out in front of you and just continues on to the which direction? West. You also notice at the edge of the forest that you are not getting so much that mucky, muddy, marshy smell with the fish and the mud, and the buzzing of bugs, but it is now replaced by songbird chatter and the quiet twitter of insects and a damp, earthy smell.
Marigold is much relieved. She doesn't think the swamp is for her.
Well, suppose we should pick a tree, huh?
Do you think it lives in a tree?
I mean, it would have to if it climbs the trees. I mean, where else would a climbing creature would live?
Hmm. You may have a point.
There's so many trees.
Maybe some of them have marks on them. If the creature climbs the tree, then surely it has to get a grip somehow.
That's
If it doesn't fly.
That's a really good point. Or well, maybe not actually. That's tough.
We can at least look. If there's no marks, there's no marks. That's all there is to it.
That's a good point. We should take a look at some of the trees and spend maybe a good couple of hours looking at trees. See if we can find any evidence of creatures that could climb.
Yeah, either marks or maybe a hole in a tree somewhere so that something it could feasibly live in.
I should note the forest is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Creekside. So it's still mid-afternoon, around 3. So you do have a few hours to investigate before you have to head back.
Yeah, well, we should do that. We should try to investigate and see if we can find any marks of creatures that move around to different trees or areas down below them, or if there are markings on trees, etc. Or if we see nests in trees or anything like that.
And if not,
It's
we
a
can
big
always come
journey
back
for
tomorrow.
mice. Just to get between 2 trees takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. These trees are aren't quite as thick as Dimwood Forest, so they are a bit further apart, which what can be annoying running between them. It is also a relief because it does let sunlight filter through the leaves up high, lighting your path a bit and your surroundings. All right. So how many trees are you going to check? Let's start with, you notice nearby there appears to be a tree with white papery bark, like one you've seen before. You remember it was quite the interesting feat to climb. You did it, but it was kind of annoying because it kept shredding. There are a couple others with smooth bark. It will be a little harder for your little claws to grab purchase on them. And then there's a few with rough bark, similar to that of an oak or a maple.
Well, let's start with... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe we should just start with the ones that have the rough bark, because they would be the quicker ones to climb up and check, and then work our way towards the smoother ones.
That works. Okay. So you find your way towards one such tree. It is the ground down below is littered with acorn shells, some of which appear to have been nibbled on or something by something small. As you climb the tree, you notice little holes in the tree. Some are just there, and some have apparently had acorns shoved into them.
Acorns shoved into them.
It seems an odd thing to do.
Yes, the acorns fell out of the tree, so who would put them back in? Marigold's just really puzzled with his behavior.
Well, we've met mice that live far up in trees before, but I look in to see where the acorns are stuffed. Does it look civilized and compartmentalized with holes and rooms?
It basically looks like something took some sort of chisel-like thing and just created a hole in the tree. You're not sure with some of them if there was any rhyme or reason to them at all. They're just there, and others have acorns lodged tightly into them.
This certainly could not be the work of a mouse, then. It wouldn't even serve any good to them.
Besides, how would they bring a chisel this far up?
That would not be safe. I am already nervous.
Goose can't understand the logic of storing a food outside the tree. He goes, why? Don't you want to take the food into your home? Why would you put it back into a tree? He kind of tries to get one of the acorns loose, but it is wedged very tightly into its little home.
How high up are we?
Trying to think. Maybe about 10, 15 feet.
Ooh, that's terrifying. Okay.
It's got nice rough bark, so you can climb it easily.
I hate to suggest this, but maybe we have to stay here until we see what comes and puts this up here.
Ooh.
We don't even have cover from all the birds.
Poppy's looking around. Isn't
Are
there
there
a place on the
branches,
ground?
or are we on the trunk?
You are on the trunk. There are branches on the tree itself, but sitting on a branch would not provide you with much cover, as most of the leaves are on the ends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was my thought. I was gonna say if we could hide, but if there's not good cover anyway, then there's no point. Although maybe sitting on the branches would be at least more comfortable than clinging to the trunk.
Does it look like we might miss whatever this... we would, 10, 15 feet. I mean, that's monumental for a mouse. Well, I guess we have to try to help people back in the old house, Greyhouse. I'm willing to camp here.
Marigold thinks that's a pretty good idea. She really doesn't, know what's going on.
Goose is a little nervous, and should we tie ourselves to the tree or something? Because I'm fine and dandy sitting here on it, but I don't know if I trust myself enough to sleep on it.
That, and if the creature who was able to do this comes back and they found out that we're here, they may not like us and try to kick us out. So having some way to keep us on the tree would be preferable.
How much of my roll of twine did you use, Pearl? Do I have any left, or is it all gone?
Well, I know there's another mouse that had some too. Goose has thread. And he had some twine on him. Don't know if any of the other mice have some.
What's the thing I got is a net, and I don't think that's gonna help keep us on the tree branch. I think it's just gonna... I'm not sure it's gonna be helping against the creature that might be able to climb up here, so but it's something at least.
Well, I have a needle and string, but only one. But we have string, but we don't have anything that could kind of hammock us.
How big is your net, Jerry?
I mean, it could probably hammock, I think, one mouse, maybe. Wouldn't be able to do it for all of us, though.
What about the tree leaves? Are they large or are they small leaves relative to a mouse?
Well,
The tree leaves would be... Trying to think how big that would be compared to it. Ranging from about the size of a mouse to maybe twice the size of a mouse.
Okay, so could we, if we went out on the branch and like nibbled off some leaves, could we make little mouse hammocks out of that? If we really need the hammocks.
I mean, it might be possible to use some of the younger twigs and leaves to try to fashion something, especially if you use string in coordination with that.
Yeah.
And given that this is a fishing village, you may find string or some substitute when you get back.
So it might be a better idea to head back to Creekside, stock up, or maybe hire some help, maybe, than make another expedition out here to see if you can catch the creature, maybe. Because right now I think we might be a little bit under-equipped at the moment.
That's true. And besides, I think even if we find the creature, we'll be asking it to go probably a day or two's journey to go beat up an owl. We might want like something to offer.
Clearly it likes acorns, so maybe some type of, if we have may have access to acorns or some type of nut, or if it's looking to store acorns, do we have any place we'd be able to help store acorns for them? Maybe a new barn?
Maybe we have a lot of space, and we can maybe offer something sweet. I don't know how it feels about sweet things, but lots of things like sweet things, and we have honey, so that I feel like that's a good place to start, and then maybe we can ask it what it wants as well.
Too bad we didn't have more of those peanuts. I bet it would like peanuts if it likes acorn.
Or the shiny thing that also came in handy.
Yeah. So we should head back and then come back with some, I don't know what to call it, but lengths of fabric or tarp of some kind. Something that could act as a hammock. Hopefully it won't be necessary, but...
I will also throw this out there because Oliver is with the party. And he would know that Creekside mice are very adept at weaving grasses together to create nets or ropes or other needed items, kind of like they did with the mouse TB.
Wow. Yeah.
So that would be a skill Oliver would have, likely, is that he would be able to, as a Creekside mouse, he would likely be have an easier time with trying to weave things or know where you can get such things.
Okay. Marigold wants to head back because she doesn't want to miss the bat.
Yeah, if we can't get anything done out here, at least we can catch sight of the bats then.
Poppy is quick to agree because she's a little nervous about trying to sleep in a tree with anything that could do that to the side of a tree. Okay. So are we wanting to head back or do anything else in the area while we're here?
No, I think we should head straight back. We are tiny and we don't have things.
Okay.
I mean, we already checked the... So did we just check one tree?
You checked one tree.
Oh. How much time has
You climbed
passed?
this tree. Say maybe the space of like half an hour or an hour. You'd still have time to check
Oh,
another tree if you wanted, or to poke around on the ground.
yeah, no, we should do that, right? Because then also we could further verify we don't want to put all our acorns in one tree. Or maybe somebody
No,
does.
indeed. Yeah, we can certainly. I think we should climb down, and then we can certainly look at other trees, especially the tree that looked easy to climb. If this thing climbs trees a lot, it will probably not want the one with this bark that comes off, because we tried to climb that and it was very difficult.
I mean, if it climbs trees easily, it probably has more than one tree it's storing nuts in, maybe.
We might even find its home. Maybe it'll be friendly and let us spend the night there.
Okay, so do you climb down, or
Yes.
are we looking from above?
I mean, I guess we could look over, kind of look around and just see if there's another tree that we'd like to kind of target for our next choice, and then climb down and go over to that one that looks like it might be easy enough for us to climb as well.
Okay, so looking from above, you do notice again there are trees with the different types of bark. You also notice something that you couldn't see before from mouse level view, because where you were, there was moss and small little plants and whatnot. But you can see there appears to be a small sort of trail that zigs and zags through the forest floor, and it splits off in a couple areas, but it appears that there are little trails where creatures obviously smaller or larger than a mouse are passing through.
Do any of those trails lead to a tree or just through the trees?
There's maybe a trail or two that leads to a tree, but most of them kind of go in between trees. And continue on into the woods. You can't quite see where it goes because it goes over a little bit of a ridge, a little bit of a hill, and then dips down and the trail disappears.
I think Hazel will probably point that out to the other mice. That do you see the trail? It leads to some of the trees. Maybe we should look at those trees and maybe that we'll find the creature there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right. So all of them, I see the trail. Are you wanting to check out the trail today? Or at least see which trees it goes to and see those trees in specific?
Trees, I would think.
Okay. So you are able to climb carefully down the tree. The bark helps. Pearl, I'm guessing, with her familiarity with direction, as well as who was it that was seeing the trail really well? Was that Hazel?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're able to find your way. You know, if you walk in a certain direction, you'll eventually run into the trail because you saw it from up above. And you do indeed find this little trail through the brush. You're not sure quite what animal made this. It does appear to be trying to think of what size would fit. Maybe something cat-sized, or maybe something a little larger than a cat, because you remember the cat that you met at the barn. It's not a super large trail, but and there's little animal prints here and there in the trail, but you're not exactly sure what types of animals made these footprints.
Do the footprints seem to lead one direction or another, or they just seem to go both ways?
Some of the prints you only see one direction. There are some that are both directions. It's not constant print. You're catching a print here and there. Some of the prints are, you notice, definitely petite, while others are almost as large as you.
And none of the prints are familiar to us there.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that
No.
again.
Sorry, I said none of the prints are familiar to us. We don't recognize any of them.
Okay.
No. I would actually say, yeah, the Cherry Grove mice would probably recognize squirrel prints here and there. Because there would be squirrels here.
I'm sorry, this is a stupid question. Have I met a squirrel before?
Have you?
So no.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was
They-
Pearl underground when you guys went into that hole at the garden?
I don't think Pearl came with us.
I think Pearl was up with Jerry at top holding the rope. So you didn't
Yeah.
actually meet the squirrel.
Okay, so I've never seen a squirrel, so I'm like, a squirrel? And then I asked the Cherry Grove people, I'm like, is a squirrel maybe what we were sent here? Is that what we might be looking for? And, out of character, of course, that doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I don't think. I mean, owls aren't
I
afraid
think
of squirrels.
have to be a really brave squirrel to take on an owl.
Squirrel Knight.
Yeah.
The Squirrel Knight. The one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the Squirrel Knight.
I don't know. Squirrels are
Your
pretty
memory
unhinged
was-
in general.
The squirrel underground that you met was absolutely terrifying. But you could also see Mr. Olcox making a quick meal out of him with his size. So
Well, maybe it's not the squirrel we're looking for, but maybe the squirrel knows the type of creature we're looking for. It'd still be a pretty good lead to go on, at least, since we don't really know exactly where to look to find the creature we need.
Yeah, you think he'd know a little more than hopefully what sort of creatures live in those woods.
Yeah, maybe we can ask some of the other creekside mice tonight about what sorts of creatures live around here, just in general. Because I don't think I recognize the prints of this creature, but I'm sure other creekside animals or mice have encountered it before.
let's see. I don't see. We lost Oliver, didn't we?
Yes, his connection was destroyed by a car crashing into apparently the only cell tower.
Oh.
town.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna add something that he would know. Is that the mice of Creekside are not super familiar with a lot of the creatures in these woods, for these woods are known as Jay's Wood. And there is a colony of mice that lives here who would be more familiar. But as the Creekside mice, find them a bit unusual. and reclusive, and the jays are hard to get along with. They just prefer not to go into these woods, so they are not very familiar with what lives here.
We're gonna have to end up talking to
Okay.
Jay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and they're supposed to be even more rude and obnoxious than the crows.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Well-
supposedly they say there is a special relationship, a treaty of sorts between the Stumpville mice and the jays. However, the Creekside mice have no such treaty, and so they are treated as outsiders and have not had a pleasant experience with the jays. And they would advise you to tread that path very carefully if you wish to try to attract the attention of such a bird.
So maybe we should meet these mice instead. They can at least tell us what sorts of animals live around here, the kinds of creatures that might be able to climb, and if we really have to go the jay route, they can talk to the jays for us. We might have to bargain with mice, but I would rather bargain with some strange mice than a large bird that would like to eat me.
I mean, worst case scenario, we could always offer deliver mail for them because, yeah, if they don't like other mice, they probably have a lot of hate mail they like to send.
We will make sure everyone knows how much you don't like them. Postcards for half price. Just say I hate you.
Hey,
Bulk
Jade,
mail.
are you trouble with the fact that not enough mice know that you don't like them? Well, now you can make sure everyone knows.
Okay. So, yes, there are. Now that you mention it, yes, the other mice don't really hear much from them. There is speak of having traded with them before, but it is hit or miss. Oliver would not know how to get a hold of them.
And no mouse prints on this trail, so clearly they don't come this way.
There are no mice prints that you can see on this trail. And I will also say, because Hazel's a rabbit writer, she rolls out that there are no bunnies that frequent this area either.
Oh.
Well, we should spend some time, whatever time is judicious left before the possibility of darkness falling before we can make it back to Creekside. I mean, searching the area, but it seems like, cantankerous though they may be, having other mice here would be the best source of intelligence.
Yes, can we ask Oliver if he knows how to contact the J mice? Or, like, what area we should go to maybe meet one?
He wouldn't know. He says there are mice in Creekside who may know such information.
Okay.
He's a beetle herder, so he hasn't been too concerned with that, or he hangs out with friends who are likely fisher mice or whatnot, but he's not quite sure who would know that. He does think, though, that Mama Lily might be able to give you something because she seems to know everything about everybody and their cousins, so.
Okay. Sounds like a good place to start.
And my other thought was, in case for whatever reason we can't contact other mice or we run into more dead ends, and it's a possibility we could potentially maybe try to consult the bats, maybe try to track them down and see if maybe we can communicate. Though from it sounds like the Creekside mice aren't able to communicate with them either, so
You do have one usage on your communication tablet left. So you could try to communicate with them.
So someone else has one too. I have one, or is that the same one we're sharing?
Well, we're sharing one communication tablet.
Oh, okay.
And it's got one usage left on it, but the only way to recharge it is to give it away freely to
A creature of another species.
a
So
creature of another species.
Does thistle count?
Hmm?
Does thistle count?
I don't know. That could be interesting. I never thought about giving it away to a beetle before.
Or a
Kind of like
stink
giving
bug.
your horse or your cat the ability to tell you what they think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have to freely give it away, which means they would have ownership and they may or may not give it back. That is the only way to recharge that tablet. So you do have one usage left, but you have to consider if you use that, how to proceed after that.
Yeah, because now I've decided if we want to talk. I guess we can't talk to Bathon because we have to negotiate with this non-mouse creature to get Mr. Olcox rousted from his nest. That is distressing. But Marigold is sure that since bats are such magical creatures, they probably speak every language.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Like, if they're magic and this tablet we have is magic that can understand other creatures, then logically speaking, in magic logic, they would be able to weave magic to understand us, I think.
Right, all these tablets are made with bats.
I mean, us mice certainly didn't make them, so it's very possible.
Okay. So it is nearing the time that you will need to be heading back. Is there anything else you're wanting to check out while you're here?
It sounds like we've managed to gather some clues and information, but we need to come back with resources.
Yep.
All right. So, you are heading back, and it is the sun's getting low. It's not quite sunset yet, and you're walking through. Where are we now? We're out of the forest. Oh yeah, we're out of the forest, and we are back in the grass. Let's see. Where did that? All right. So you are heading back, and you hear something in the grass rustling a lot nearby. It's a little ways away, but it is in the direction that you are heading.
Does it sound like a large thing or a small thing?
You're trying to figure that out. It would be an awful lot of noise for a small thing. It's a lot of rustling and
Is there
loud, chattery sounds.
Is there cover to dive toward nearby? Can we get the beetle there in time?
You could try hiding under a leaf or in the grass.
There's several of us, so maybe I don't think all of us will fit under a leaf. We can try to get the beetles under a leaf, and then the mice can scatter in the grass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good plan.
Alright.
Okay. So you hide in the grass. Your beetles are hiding under a leaf. Goose decided to try to be close to the beetles, and likely Oliver to keep them from running off again. The chattering sounds have gotten louder, and they are moving around in the grass a bit nearby and up ahead. It doesn't seem that whatever it is has noticed you, but they are not leaving the area.
Dang it.
Can we, Lara wants to creep forward a little bit to see if she can get a sense of what this thing is. Or things. If there's more than one of them. But hopefully not be seen herself because she doesn't want to be turned to lunch.
Okay. Chicory offers to go with you for protection purposes, but he wants to see if Marigold's going to be behind with her tablet just in case he needs backup.
Oh, the tablet is definitely present.
He doesn't want to get dragged by something again.
Yeah.
You crawl forward through the grass, and you don't see them yet, but you see something very furry and bushy, like some kind of tails, twitching about in the air and moving around. They seem to hold still in one place, and then they zip over to somewhere else, and then zip back again. You're not sure if whatever it is playing or fighting or arguing, but there are two of them that you can see.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. How do they compare to our size? Twice, 3, 4?
Their tail is bigger than you. It's this bushy, maybe... I'm trying to think how big the tail.
Well, I ask one of the people from Cherry Grove. I'm like, is this a squirrel?
Well, let's see who's
Mouse.
from Cherry Grove.
Mouse from Cherry Grove.
That would be Hazel and Marigold and Goose and Chicory.
Yeah, I asked them under the grass.
So Hazel and Marigold, you guys would be able to identify whether it was a squirrel or not. Which it is.
Okay, well, I'd be like, oh, it's a squirrel.
Oh, are they dangerous?
Well, yes. In fact, we had a very bad situation with one not too long ago where it was trying to eat some mice.
Oh no! Eat
I had
mice.
In Cherry Grove there have been squirrels, and I don't think they had ever bothered us, but maybe that's because we had guards. And these mice were out foraging for Bramley Hedge and were alone. So perhaps it thought they were easier to jump or something. We were able to fight them off, but it was quite a fierce moment.
How many of you were there?
There were 3 of us and 1 of it.
Okay, well, hear me out. If we could get them to talk, we could find out everything right now. There are 8 of us.
Well, we would have to use our last tablet usage, and then we couldn't talk to the thing.
Oh, you have to... That's the tablet in question to talk to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have 1 conversation left.
And then you have to give it to that creature?
You don't have to give it to the creature you're talking to. You can choose a creature of your choice, but it can't be the same species. So it couldn't be another mouse.
Okay. It's got and we don't actually have that close of an ally right now, sadly. So.
Not in Creekside. Not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
There have been some animals you guys can outright talk to, and then some are require the use of a tablet.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not worth it because we need the tablet to talk to him. Yeah.
And while you guys are discussing this, you see a shadow pass over all of you.
Oh gosh.
and looking up a blur of blue, and all of a sudden the chattering up ahead turns to what you're pretty sure is a very angry noise. And this bright flash of blue flies by overhead again with what looks like something small and round in its feet. Maybe acorns or some kind of nut. You're really not sure. But whatever's up ahead is now very not happy.
Okay. Okay, great. This is good. All right. We can pit these suckers against each other. But not right now, because we only have this one tablet, and we don't have a lot to work with. We probably need to recharge this tablet. We have to. Because we can't talk to anything,
Yeah.
right?
You have one
Yeah.
use left.
Yeah, we have to... How many...
If we can find the J mice, and then they can lead us to this thing, and then we can use our last conversation on the thing, we can do it. And then, yeah,
That's a
we'll
good
have to
point.
recharge it because we need it to talk to these other creatures.
Yeah, and if that fails, we actually need to divert and go back to, like, the rabbits in Cherry Grove or something. Something friendly, because we need the... Yeah. Right?
Hazel, can you speak to your rabbit friends without a tablet?
For Hazel, that would be a yes.
Sorry, someone was talking to me.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying that you would be able to in-game for your response to her.
Perfect. So we go...
Yeah, then Hazel will have to be our communicate.
Think of it like learning another language, kind of like learning to be a rabbit writer. You learn how to communicate with the bunnies.
I mean, we don't, right? We don't know any other friendly species. We haven't gained any solid
Not in
alliances
Creekside.
except
Unless
for the
you
bunnies.
run into your crows again, because you've met crows before and they've traveled, and you met a random sparrow at one point, and you're friends with bees now, but most of them are over by Old Barn.
Oh, bees.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Oh,
You
okay.
befriended a colony of a hive of bees.
Okay, so there's a couple options. You don't have to go all the way back to Cherry Grove. That's a long ways, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it would be back at Old Barn, which is a 2-day journey unless you have a rabbit.
Gotcha. Man, what a fantastically simulated animal world. Magnificent. Okay.
Or you guys could always find your ghost again if you wanted to talk to her.
I don't want to risk talking to the white snake again, because I feel like it's a coin flip whether it will eat us or not.
I
It's
don't
only
think
gonna
we have
get bigger.
we don't have anything to give her this time.
Okay, so we either need to create a distraction or we have to wait. Or we have to try to scare them off. I feel like if we try to scare them off, it'll cause problems for the future we don't want right now. Because we're going to have to deal with these things. Okay, my vote is that we, they're distracted right now anyways, and so we take the long way around and take the risk of doing that. While
Yes,
they're
I don't think
chittering.
we want to run into these angry things that are mean.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are going around. You hear them angry chattering still a bit. They now seem to be bickering with each other over what happened.
Nice. Suckers.
You don't see any more of the bright blue bird that had been overhead. But lots of bird sounds. You are able to make it the rest of the way back to Creekside as the sun is getting very low and getting ready to set, and you are met by a Lotus and a mouse you haven't seen before. She introduces him to you as her husband, Barley. And she says, while Creekside doesn't really have any inns or hotels, it is common for families to take in visiting guests or friends. And since she considers you all friends of hers, if you wouldn't mind staying at her place. She doesn't have a whole lot of space, but she does have an extra room or two, and she was
Okay,
hoping
that's
to
nice.
sometime in the future have little mouselings, so they've been starting to expand the home. But if you wouldn't mind staying, she and her husband Barley would be honored to have you as guests.
We'll be honored as your guest to stay at your house.
Thank you very much.
Very generous, Lotus.
She's very excited. She asks if you're hungry and if you've had dinner yet, because chances are Mama Lily probably has leftovers that she could serve up real quick, or that Lotus could bring home for you.
A really confused, kind of anxious look stays on Pearl as she doesn't want to be rude, but she's really hoping for not crawdads. But she'll eat them.
Oh, well, it isn't crawdads. It's fish still, which I hope will still be appealing. But we caught some nice small fry today out on the marsh, and fried them up with some potatoes that we'd gotten from some little potato wedges we'd gotten from Brambly Hedge.
Was it the catfish?
Oh no, they're still planning all that. It's going to be quite the thing to catch that. But I think you'll like it. It's very how do I put this? Catfish is mild, which may suit your taste better than the crawdads did, but I suppose I could talk to Mama Lily and have her prepare some that's not quite as spicy as the rest of the batch, and that might suit you better.
You've had catfish before?
Are you talking to me or the mouse?
I'm talking to the mouse, talking to Lotus, and just Jerry looks in amazement, like, "Oh, you actually ate cat before?"
Why, yes, we have a great festival, and oh, I probably should have mentioned that sooner. It's part of why they're catching the catfish. It's so exciting, and with the little mice, we attract fireflies into the village, and it just kind of glows like lights, and there's games, and oh, it's just so much fun. I hope you are here for it.
How many days till the festival?
Well, now let's see. They're catching the catfish hopefully by the end of the week, so I think it's about in a week and a half, maybe 2. I've been away at Brambly Hedge so long, I kind of forgot the dates this year. I'm sorry. I'll have to check them. Oh, and you'll also like this. We do celebrate with the sweets around the festival. They may not be the kind you're used to, but well, that might help balance out anything spicy that's served.
Sweet sounds good.
All right. So it is nighttime. Is there anything you're wanting to do before your mice go to bed tonight? I know it's 10:30.
I think.
Well,
go ahead.
Marigold wants to stay up and see the bat.
Oh
Okay,
man, yeah. We should get some
absolutely.
food and go out and see the bats. Yeah.
That would be. Are we wanting to do that tonight, or do people need to go and we could pick up next time with dinner and bats?
I mean,
Or
if
night
there's
wings, as they're called.
if it's more than just seeing them, then I want to pick up and but if
It could be. It depends. We'll have to see how that pans out.
yeah, no, that's too big.
Yeah, we can't rush it.
That's too
Marigold's
big of a deal.
been waiting her entire existence for this.
She's collected 47 of their teeth, so you know she's serious.
Yes. See, in the past, that's not something just gloss over in the scene. Like, no, that we have to have an entire session for that.
I don't know where
You
you
might
get
say it's
that
getting
teeth,
kind
but-
of serious. Marigold.